This is the funnest night ever!
Quit yanking our anuses!
Two people get together, do something social, have a few drinks, yada yada yada.
It's called Two Brothers. Two Brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
Welcome. I don't know how else to start the podcast other than saying welcome.
It's okay.
So, welcome to another episode of Two Brothers.
Yeah.
Tonight is going to be a pretty fun episode because we're going to review two video games that have come out over the past month, and I'm pretty excited to talk about one in particular.
Okay.
But before we get in, we got to talk about what we've been playing and what we've been reading. So what have you been playing lately, Ed?
So I'm almost done with Persona 5 Strikers.
Damn, dude, every
I know.
episode that we talk about what games we're playing, you're still playing Persona 5.
Because I jump, back and forth with the arcade games. I started playing 12 minutes. So far, I'm having fun with it.
Okay.
I'll probably have a review later on down the line for that. And still playing Scarlet. No, what?
It's Scarlet Nexus?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one, right? That's what it's called.
And reading the same old shit.
Yeah, same too, really, to be honest. Been playing Brutal Legend after having played Psychonauts 2. Been playing Fear 2 on the 360. I've also been playing Portal 2 for the first time in a very long time.
For the first time?
It's been a long time since I played Portal 2.
But not for the first time.
I said for the first time in a long time.
Just saying a long time.
Well, whatever, then you get what I mean when I say that. Jesus. And I'm also playing Life is Strange True Colors. Just started that about like 2 weeks ago. That game is also... I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've enjoyed a Life is Strange game, since like
the first
one basically. So that's been really fun to play, and still playing Yakuza as well.
See, giving me shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might not be able to pass it till like maybe the end of the year or something. That game is just, it. If anyone's ever played Yakuza, I think I even said it on the last podcast. If you played Yakuza games, you know how long these games are. You know, in terms of comic books, we have read the first. We both did. Read the first issue of Dark Ages.
Dark Ages.
That is pretty good, written by Tom Taylor, and of course, anything that Tom Taylor does is just outstanding. You know, he did with like Deceased. And what he's doing with Nightwing.
I don't know if he's doing the vampire one that's coming out soon.
For DC?
So I don't know. I gotta look into that. I just know he just came out in the promotional when you read the comics. You know? Yeah. So, but still, yeah, like you said, everything he does is good.
Yeah, and still reading. Just everything that we mentioned before. The last podcast is what we're still reading. We'll bring reviews for those comic books once they finish. Yeah. That's really all we've been doing. Yeah. And doing this podcast, which we're doing right now.
All right.
And we're going to review the first game that we've played. Still currently playing, I guess, because it's... we haven't really finished it, but we've gotten a good feel of it. Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Yes.
For the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the PC. And I'm surprised. I'm really surprised by how... enjoyable the game turned out to be.
That's a good choice of words.
Yeah.
Same here. At first,
you go ahead. You're gonna take off my fucking necklace, dude. It keeps...
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah. For the first time, playing an Aliens game that was fucking so enjoyable, so fun, and yeah, this is what an Aliens game should be. So
yeah,
if you want to start into it,
well, I mean. If no one knows about the disaster that was Aliens Colonial Marines,
which is still going to hold it over your head. Yeah, people, I'm bringing an old story here.
Go ahead, they're waiting for the story.
I was going to begin, asshole. Jeez. Albert here was so. How do you say?
Oh, this is an awesome story so far. Go ahead.
You. Albert wanted to pre-order this game because he thought it was going to be one of the best games of that year. And I told Albert, come on, hold on. It has a lot of fucking, problems. It had a rocky start, all this shit. And I was right. It was a piece of shit.
But I'm not the only person that fucking got bamboozled, right? Everyone else was also thinking this game was going to be fucking great. And of course it turned out to be fucking dog shit. And, I didn't buy it, so
yeah,
that's a good thing, and everyone's been waiting ever since that fucking piece of shit game for a true Aliens game, because we have Alien, which is just like the one fucking Alien.
Isolation.
I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, well, you should have said that, Dick. We're talking about games.
You should know what I'm talking about here.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
I really want to just. You have Alien, the movie header that just has the singular fucking alien that like is more a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Then you have Aliens, that is a much more action oriented film, and you kind of got that horror inspired Alien game with Alien Isolation. I feel like I'm saying Alien a lot. Yeah, and then with Aliens Fireteam, it feels a lot like what Aliens is.
The movie.
The movie.
By James Cameron.
God. I can't believe I'm saying Aliens so much. But it feels very much like how those movies are. You get to play as, I think it's like 3 players, right? Like,
yeah,
you get 3. To have like a little team of
3.
Which is weird. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they chose 3, but whatever. And it's very simple. You just go through these different scenarios in different levels, and you just kill a bunch of fucking aliens. I mean, there's little objectives that you do, kind of like how you would do in Left 4 Dead, but that really doesn't fucking matter. I mean, if you're really into what the story and everything, it's there for you to read or listen to if you want, but that's not like the main attraction for the game. Yeah, there's different NPCs that you talk to and you listen to them and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to.
So there's a story behind it, but really all you have to know is that you're a Marine and you're going to fucking kill aliens, and that's really it. And it delivers on that for sure. If that's all you really wanted, is to just kill a bunch of fucking aliens and have a good time, Fireteam Elite is gonna satiate that appetite. But if you're wanting something a little bit more deeper, something with a bit more complexity and more depth, you're not going to find that here. Not yet, at least, because this game did just release about a month ago, and they're still adding content.
Pretty soon they're going to have an update with a new operator. Mm-hmm. So that's a good thing. Like, they're going to keep supporting it. They're going to add new levels. We'll see how it goes on down the...
That's the thing, is that I enjoyed my time with Fireteam Elite, but everything's dependent on
the fan
base and how they support it, and how many players online and all that. I mean, this game came out it came out in August, right? Mm-hmm. So it's coming out about 2 months before Back 4 Blood is going to release, which is a much more highly anticipated title. And so I'm kind of worried that the player base is kind of going to wane off after Back 4 Blood comes out. But don't sleep on this game, because it's definitely worth your time. It's only $40,
which is not bad.
Which is unheard of, honestly, with all these fucking games that are coming out that are $60 or even $70.
In which they're sometimes not finished, have problems.
Yeah, I mean, and this one does have some issues. There's some glitches.
Major,
Yeah, they're not major, but we had, I wouldn't say major, we did have a few crashes.
Yeah.
So, but it never really became a consistent issue. It's still very fun. The graphics are kind of on the meh side, it could definitely use a facelift, maybe down in the future, who knows. And this is from a new developer too,
which is good for them that they made this game,
yeah.
So Excuse me. So like it's like you were saying like if you're a fan of Alien, your game will be Alien Isolation, which is good. If you're a fan of Aliens, this is your cup of tea right here.
Which is really good, because before there wasn't really any, except for maybe like Alien versus Predator, which wasn't like a full-fledged Aliens game. And then obviously we talked about Colonial Marines.
Like to me it is basically if you play Left 4 Dead but with aliens
and third person,
so I had fun to have different variations of the aliens. So that's good.
Different Marines too. With different weapons. You get to use the smart gun.
So
you get to use the rifle.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 or 5 levels, but in between those levels, there's little like scenarios, like you were saying. So let's say you're playing level 1, there's like 3 or 4 scenarios you have to do. So it's pretty lengthy of a level to say. So that's how you progress. That's how you upgrade your Marine, your guns, basic stuff.
I think that's the only other thing that kind of sucks, is that progression kind of feels non-existent, you know? Like maybe every once in a while you'll get like another gun or skin. But most of the time you're just getting like attachments, like a muzzle brake. Or you're just getting a fucking little paint job for your gun. And that's it.
So
but if you continuously play it, you're obviously going to get better loot, and you're going to progress a lot more. But at least from our experience, like I said, we only played maybe total of, between both of us, maybe like 12 hours, maybe more. And that's about it. And there's still more to play. I know, like further down into the campaign, a lot more shit starts to pop off. Face huggers start to appear like later in the game, and so there's a lot more there. It's not just the same consistent design, level design.
Repetitive.
Yeah, it's not super repetitive. I mean, there are moments where you're just doing the same shit, especially if you're grinding for progression and everything. But it helps that there's different variations of aliens and different levels, and they all look good too. Like the environments look fucking awesome to just look at. Looks like ripped straight from the movies and shit. So I don't know, I had a good time with it. I'm pretty sure that if you're a hardcore Aliens fan, you're gonna really fucking enjoy it.
There's nothing to be. Well, to me, there's some things that are kind of disappointing, like a lack of boss levels or
which
boss
is a
fights.
missed opportunity, but they might add it.
You never know. So that's a good thing that we might hear this. Not us, but like the fans' feedback about it, and they might add it later on, which is good. But I heard that you don't fight the big mother alien or whatever. You just confront her, and you just gotta try to escape, and that's basically it.
Which I think is what you do in Colonial Marines too.
So
which kind of sucks. You're expecting that like huge battle, but it's not there.
It's nothing. How do you say? I don't want to say special about this game, but
it's not groundbreaking.
No, you already seen this type of game before. That's Left 4 Dead, but with aliens. So I would say it's a very solid game. It's just really excuse me, very well made of a aliens game. When I first played the first level, dude, oh my god, it's kind of like I don't know if you had this too, like some certain aliens would pop out of the vents and stuff like that. That's oh my god. So when that happened, okay, I know I'm in for a fucking treat. This is what a fucking aliens game should be. Vents. The aliens coming out of the vents. You can hear them screaming. All that shit. The hordes. Oh my god.
There was like at least on our end, there was a bit of issues with audio being a little bit like on the low side, but still, man, like once you do have the volume up and everything's like popping off, it sounds really fucking good too.
Character wise, like you're if you pick a character,
a Marine, right?
graphic wise, they don't look so good. They look like early 360 game, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say early 360, but definitely like early Xbox One. I think.
No,
You don't think so?
nah. To me, it seems
Because it still looks good. I don't think it looks fucking god awful.
no, but okay. But
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You want to say early or a 360, you know?
you know, to me, yeah, you know, compared to what we see now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it's a first, you know, developer game, so I'm not gonna, you know, shit on them so much about it because they brought, you know, a fucking good game of an aliens game. Sorry. So yeah, to me, just a simple review. Like again, if you like Alien, you're gonna like Alien Isolation. If you like Aliens, you're gonna love this game. So it's a little bit of everything for everyone that loves, you know. Oh, I like this game, or
Yeah.
I mean, I like this movie instead of that. So
What grade would you give it?
7 out of 10 right now,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
I
not
was-
bad.
I'm gonna give
It's
it
a
a 7.
very high 7, I can say that, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, there's a solid foundation with Fireteam Elite. But if you're buying this just to play solo, don't fucking pick it up. Like, you have to play online, and if you have friends, that's even better. Because the AI fucking sucks. And
Well, to me, I didn't have so much problems with the AI though.
well, yeah, but like it just doesn't feel like a complete experience without playing with other people.
Yeah.
You know, and again, hopefully it gets more support, because if it does and the developer really shows interest in wanting to add more content, the game is only going to get better. So
Yeah,
far it's
hey,
really good.
Yeah, I was gonna go back into that, like you were talking about earlier, the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, hopefully it doesn't die out so quickly. Jesus, like with all the other multiplayer games that come out recently, you know, they die out so quick because people just lose interest, you know.
Well, yeah, that's...
huh?
No, go ahead.
And what, like, this is kind of like a bad time for it to release because in a couple months, like you said, Back 4 Blood's coming out, the new Call of Duty, Battlefield. Halo, you know, so hopefully it doesn't die out so quick and there's a fan base still there. So hopefully down the line, maybe you can see a story mode where you can play by yourself, boss battles, stuff like that, you know. So
Well, I mean, that's what kind of sucks right now, is that the most popular like Twitch streamers out there, they kind of determine whether a game is gonna live or die. You know, like Splitgate is, you know, its communities is still pretty strong, but it's starting to kind of die down a bit. And I think that's just because streamers aren't, they're kind of trying to appeal to what's popular right now. What's popular is fucking Warzone and Fortnite and Apex, and not to say that those games aren't. I mean, Warzone is pretty bad, but like, not to say that Apex is like a bad fucking game. It's just not enough attention is being put on games like Knockout City, you know, or Splitgate, or Hyperscape, or fucking like Aliens Fireteam Elite. So it's all really dependent too on whether or not Twitch streamers spotlight this game. Otherwise, this game is not gonna fucking live, you know. So if you're listening out there and you enjoy it, like playing alien games and everything, definitely go check out Fireteam Elite, because it's worth your time.
well, we can't say it might die out, but I think they'll still support it, just like World War Z, you know.
Oh yeah, as long as the community's still strong, for sure.
What's another game like Siege, Rainbow Six, For Honor, which is like, those games came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And it's still strong and it's still supporting it, so that's good. So hopefully that the Aliens Fireteam
Fireteam Elite.
follows that route and goes that route, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so far a surprising game.
what you give it, a 7 too?
7. Yeah.
Okay.
So a surprising game so far in 2021. And the next game, which is also a surprise, but also not super surprised, is probably my game of the year. And I don't know, this game I've been really looking forward to talking about it on the podcast.
So the day has come.
Yeah, today has come, and it is Psychonauts 2. And I have a very personal history with the game.
All right,
with the first one.
Okay.
All credit. I'm gonna give credit to you because without you, I don't think I would have ever have known about Psychonauts.
Thank you.
I remember picking it up in GameStop when it came out, brand new, and if people don't know, Double Fine as well as I think Vivendi, I think they're called. They made the first Psychonauts, and it released on Xbox first, and then it came out on PS2, and it was like a commercial failure. It just did not make a lot of money. It didn't really get enough attention. And when Double Fine bought out the rights for Psychonauts, they sold it, put it up on Steam, and that's when it started to get a lot more traction, and a lot more people started to play it, and everyone realized how fucking good of a game it is, and it became a cult classic, and obviously we're here now with the sequel. But I remember picking it up for the PS2 and just being, I don't know, I feel like Psychonauts 1 is so weird. It's a weird game, especially with everything that came out on the PS2. It just felt totally unique.
Yeah, I was about to say it was completely different for a game that came out that year. So
yeah, so, and that was like.
I think that's also what people got turned off by, because it was so different.
Yeah,
of a game,
the graphics kind of looked a bit cartoonish. It looked kind of like a Tim Burton movie. The character models kind of looked off-putting for people and everything, but I bought into it, man. Everything was so new and colorful, and I was like, dude, this game is awesome. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's odd because I was a kid then, and obviously Psychonauts deals with mental health, and then when I revisited a few times as I got older, I started to get more of the messages that it tried to put out. And I don't know, I felt like I was in that little niche of group of people who played Psychonauts and remember what Psychonauts is. And I felt really proud to be a part of that. And so when I heard that there was a part 2, which I don't think I've ever wanted a sequel to a video game as bad as Psychonauts originally.
Okay.
When the first one came out and I passed it, I was like, I want a fucking sequel right now.
So a tiny little Albert was thinking about a sequel.
Yeah. I was. And this was before all the fucking 360 games that came out, and I was like, I want a sequel to this. I want to see.
This is probably you, right? I want a sequel, but 5 seconds later, I'm gonna get a cheeseburger.
Oh my god. That's not what.
You think you forgot about the sequel, right?
No, I never fucking forgot it. I always followed it. Even when it wasn't a sequel, I was like, oh, hopefully they announce something or they talk about it.
It's weird of you talking about this game you love it so much, but I remember you playing it maybe 2 years ago, a year ago, and you being stuck at the fucking, was it the mailman's fucking?
Oh, the milkman.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. Or was it a glitch, or what happened there?
No, I don't remember what it was. I think I just wasn't able to get past a certain section or something. But yeah, that's an example of fucking brilliant game level design too with Psychonauts. The Milkman's Conspiracy, I think that's what they call it. But yeah, anyways, fast forward to I think 2015 when they announced the second one. Damn. And I fucking was like a little girl when they saw the fucking reveal trailer, and everyone was super excited, and so was I. And I followed it, and I remember seeing the first gameplay of it. I was like, oh, this game is it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And finally released last month.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years later. And it blew my fucking mind. This game is easily at, and I'm talking to you directly, not just to the fans. Oh Psychonauts 2 is easily in my top 5 video games of all time.
Including the first one.
Well, the first one will be in the top 10. But top 5, Psychonauts 2 is on there.
Wow.
For sure. It fucking just, outgrew my expectations. And right off the bat, it picks up immediately after the VR game, which I didn't play because fucking VR is super expensive. But it still takes place like a day after the first one anyways. And not to really give too much about like story, because I feel like you need to have played the first one to really get to know what the second one's about. You play as Raz, who is a psychonaut, and he has like these special like powers where he can like go into people's minds and shit.
Is
like
that what a psychonaut is, though? Specifically, like you go into people's minds, or?
Yes, think of it like Men in Black, but for like the mind. You know, like
Okay.
that kind of shit. It's like a group of people, like agents and shit, that do missions and stuff like that. But it's all involving, you know, right there in your brain. But this takes place directly after the first one, and you're trying to find out who stole the brain of the leader of the Psychonauts, and you're immediately like just downgraded from being a Psychonaut to being a fucking what's that word called? Shit. What's that word called when you go to college and you like take a job but it's not a real job? What are you?
Fuck, I just had it. Intern.
An intern. You know why I was having a brain fart? Yeah, you're an intern now. You're no longer a Psychonaut, so you have to kind of climb back up that ladder again and prove your worth and become a Psychonaut again. And man, this game was just... I was so fucking impressed by what they managed to do with... And we're going to talk about it like in a future episode about mental health in video games, because we did that with comic books. But nothing encapsulates mental health in games better than Psychonauts 2. It treats it with so much respect. Even when you boot up the game, it kind of gives you like a warning, or like tells you like, hey, this game is going to deal with a lot with mental health, and here's like a phone number that you can call if you're dealing with shit and all that. I don't say dealing with shit, but
if you're dealing with shit,
if you're like also dealing with mental health, and like the thing that kind of caught my eye that really impressed me was the enemy design. So, for example, like I think when you start the game, one of the new enemies is called Doubt, I think. So it's like, you know how you have like doubts and shit like that. There's bad moods, which is introduced a little bit later in the game, and you can't really fight bad moods until you find out what's causing it. So you have to use a certain power so you can find like what's causing the bad mood and stuff like that.
That's fucking...
It's just really clever shit like that, right? There's regrets, which is personified by these like little flying fucking insects that hold these really heavy like almost like kettlebells and shit. And it's like, you know, because when you get regret, it kind of carry that and it weighs you down. So those enemies are kind of dropping these fucking heavy shit on you. There's judges, you know, when you start to like
to
judge yourself and shit like that. That's pretty fucking cool. The one that's my favorite, and also my favorite level, is when you explore the mind of, I think they call him the Psy-King, who is played by
Jack Black.
By Jack Black. And it introduces panic attacks as an enemy. And when the Psy-King has a panic attack, all like every color starts to become more like intense. Everything starts to become more fast. You can't relax. You can't calm down. And it's personified by this monster that looks like a fucking demon that starts to like jut around. You know, you can't really catch it because he keeps running around and everything. So you have this power that slows it down, and that's like how you deal. That's how you deal with panic attacks. You have to kind of like slow things down. You have to breathe and all that kind of shit. I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking awesome,
right now. Because I only saw the trailer of Psychonauts 2. Okay, not knowing a lot about it. Right, you talking about it right now. Well, these fucking details to the game you know, gameplay wise, I'm getting blown away. That's so fucking, how do you say, genius to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, all credit to fucking Double Fine, man. It's... Oh, and then there's like a power that you get, a new power from the, for the second one is called Mental Connection.
Mm-hmm.
And you use it pretty cleverly, like in the first kind of big level in the game, where you're trying to connect different like words with like your mental connection ability to try to, I guess, kind of change people's like thoughts and how they think and everything. I don't know, it just feels a lot like what CBT is. It's like cognitive behavioral therapy, where you have to kind of change the way you're thinking about your thoughts and everything. And I never thought that a video game would be able to like show that, you know, in gameplay. And that by far is like the most impressive thing to me in Psychonauts 2, is how they deal with mental health, but in terms of like playing the game. You know, there's enemies that come up from the first one called sensors, you know, which is like these things that kind of like try to stamp out like negative thoughts or some shit like that. It's just, oh my god, like the enemies alone, it kind of, I know this is gonna sound like a weird comparison, but it kind of feels like playing Doom. And the way what I mean by that is, like in Doom, there's different enemies that have a purpose, you know. So like in Doom, you have a Pinky, and the Pinky's kind of purpose is to ram right through you and shit. And so that forces you to move, you know, not to stay in one place, you know. Or you have to kind of like juke them and shit. And then you have like Revenants and shit, that kind of, you have to, you know, use your scope to shoot the fucking, it's kind of shit like that.
Okay.
And in Psychonauts, it's kind of similar in like that, in that way, because in combat scenarios, you'll have like a few sensors, you know. Those are like your easy enemies that you can take out with your the best way I can, because like a fucking, like a laser beam that comes out of your head, it's called a Psyblast. And that's like your main way to like attack and shit. But anyway, sorry. This is gonna be a long, kind of in depth
yeah,
review.
I'm getting bored.
What are you...
Just kidding. It's fucking interesting right now.
God, I lost my place because I'm really like excited talking about it. Okay, so the combat scenarios, right? So you have a few sensors, right? Then you have like a judge that comes in, and let's say you have a few like doubts and regrets and everything, and then like a bad mood is around and shit like that. You have to prioritize, like, oh, I have to get rid of the bad mood first, so I have to use my clairvoyance to find out what's causing the bad mood. Oh, and there's another enemy called an enabler, which enables, you know, like enables your negative thoughts and shit. But an enabler, in terms of an enemy, buffs another enemy and keeps them from getting hit, you know? So it makes them invulnerable. So you have to get rid of the enabler so you can get rid of the fucking judge. And then it's just like this little puzzle that you have to figure out when you're playing. And it can become a bit overwhelming, but it's so much more satisfying than the simple combat that was in the first one. So that's definitely like a step up from the first Psychonauts. Am I making you cry? What's going on?
No, my eyes are wide. In that case, I'm...
Just because you're crying. Look, I know Psychonauts is a very emotional game.
Can you shut up for a minute and can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. I have to catch my breath. It's because I sound like a fucking kid trying to talk to their mom about a fucking... That's how it feels like. You look like a parent, and I'm like trying to talk to you, and you're just like, oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not getting bored. It's very interesting. Okay, I only sleep last night that much. Okay,
I'm also really sweaty.
Yeah, oh my god. No, I was gonna say, I got last train of thought.
You want to ask me a question?
Okay, yeah. So I haven't played Psychonauts since PlayStation 2. So it's been a while.
Jesus.
But does Psychonauts, the first one, does that also deal with mental health, or kinda?
No, yeah, it does deal with mental health. There's you know, we're talking about like bad moods and everything. There's a character that later on in the game you meet that she has like bipolar, And when you enter her mind, she's an actress too, kind of like those like Broadway actresses and shit like that. When you enter her mind, you have to kind of create a play, so you're like a director.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and so you have to change the setting depending on what her mood is and stuff like that. Obviously, with the milkman, he kind of is like a very paranoid person. So when you enter his mind, there's like cameras that pop out.
That makes sense.
And like look at you.
Okay.
The level's kind of like almost like spiraling, like twisted, because he's always paranoid and think about different conspiracies, and everything kind of jumps off of one another. So it deals with mental health, but this one feels a lot more personal. And it feels a lot more refined. And it feels like, like you can understand what these people are going through. You know? And very true to form with like mental health. Once you finish a level with a certain character, they haven't really overcome their mental health, but they have the tools now to deal with whatever trauma they're dealing with, which feels a lot like what I think a lot of people go through when they have anxiety or depression or any kind of mental health, is that it's not cured. You know, it's something that you have to fight through and battle through. But you have the tools along the way to overcome it, to manage it. And Psychonauts 2 does that too. Is like, I think there's one character where it's like I also want to talk about the level design.
Oh my God.
But
we're gonna be here all fucking day.
One character in particular, it's kind of like done in sort of like a cook-off show, you know. And this guy's like really afraid, and he kind of is almost like guarded. He's kind of sheltered and everything in his own little bubble, and you have to help him kind of get out of his own comfort zone. But once you leave his brain, he's still kind of unsure of himself, still kind of like a little bit afraid and everything, but he's a lot more braver than when you first met him. You know, shit like that. So I mean, for someone who deals with anxiety like me and depression, this game already fucking like wins with flying colors, you know? It's really amazing, you know? The level design,
Kind of sound like you're gonna cry.
so I'm trying to catch my breath. It's because I'm fucking talking too much.
Calm
too
down. You're like, Mac, dude, calm down. You're all sweating and shit.
Alright, calming down. The level design is also really good.
Okay.
We were talking about it with like the first one. With the second one, you get to visit like a how do you call it, like a 70s inspired kind of like Woodstock festival, and the graphics changed to kind of reflect that, so it looks a lot more vibrant, and it looks like you're in the fucking, like you're tripping on LSD and shit. That's pretty cool. There's one
Like, you
where
tripping on LSD?
yeah, isn't it what it was called?
Yeah, it's what...
What?
No, it's just the way you tripping on LSD, which is pretty cool.
No, it feels like you're tripping on LSD,
which is pretty cool.
which is also pretty cool. There's a character that's or a level where all the characters are made out of like paper, kind of like Paper Mario and shit. And then you're also like transporting into different books and jumping on different like letters and words and shit like that. So the level design is like fucking top notch. I think Double Fine just knocked it out of the fucking park. The bosses are also really good too. Especially the first one, because you kind of have to utilize some of the powers you've learned so far to take them out and all that. It's just, there's too much to talk about without making this a long episode. But also, I think the last thing I want to talk about is kind of like the message that it tries to push. And that's that no matter what you're going through, you're always going to be stronger than, you know, your thoughts. You're always going to be stronger than the trauma that you've experienced. And with a bit of help from some friends. It sounds like a fucking Beatles. It sounds like a Beatles. What's Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club or something like that? So that sounds
That's your favorite song too.
That is my favorite song. But yeah, like
what would you do? Right?
No, but it's like you're more stronger than you think, you know. And it sounds like a very simple message, but when you're dealing with anxiety and you're dealing with panic attacks and like mental breakdowns, it's very hard to remember that you're always stronger than the depression. Mm-hmm. You're stronger than your anxiety, and you have control over your thoughts. And that's the kind of the main thing that this game tries to teach people and educate people is you're never going to get rid of those personal demons, but you'll always have those tools to kind of fight them and embrace them and you know, manage it. And I don't think there's ever been a video game that has done that in such a heartfelt way. And Psychonauts 2 did it. And I've always been wanting a game that could do that. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of games that do it in a very like obscure, kind of like more nuanced way. But Psychonauts 2 is very clever with how it deals with mental health. And it just has a very positive message, you know. It's like, you know, sometimes you just gotta relax and not breathe so breathe so hard when you're fucking talking about a video game.
Sweating.
And sweating, or you know, just confronting trauma, or confronting feelings of loneliness and feeling that you're not worthy and shit like that. So, because of that, and because of the amazing fucking combat, graphics, amazing level design,
story,
everything.
Yep.
I didn't even get to talk about the fucking shit that you collect, which is also kind of clever too, like luggage, you know. Some people have some shit that they never really unpack in their minds, and that's personified in the game too, where you gotta collect different suitcases and shit.
Calm down, you kind of like spoiled everything. If people are interested...
Well, not the story. The story is still the biggest fucking thing.
Oh my god. I'm just saying, like, it feels like you're spoiling without spoiling it, if it makes sense.
Okay.
But, yeah, keep going, sorry.
I kind of lost my... No, well...
Like, you were thinking about the collectibles.
Yeah, well, no, I think, like, even the first one had, like, mental cobwebs that you have to
I thought it were
clean
puzzles.
up and shit. Puzzle? What do you mean puzzles?
I thought you collect puzzles in the first one.
No, I think you do, too. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, in the first one, you collect cobwebs, you know? This one, you don't really do that, but you collect, like, luggage. I think they call it nuggets of wisdom. Different, like, little half a brain so you can, like, upgrade your health and shit like that. It's just a really fun game, guys. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, my God.
It's a fucking masterpiece. If I'm being quite honest. I know I sounded like I'm all over the place, but I think that just shows how passionate I am about this game. Psychonauts 2 is definitely my game of the year.
Well, what do you think would it be nominated?
I fucking hope so. I hope it gets this fucking, like...
Comeuppance.
Comeuppance?
Yeah.
No, I hope it gets it's time in the limelight.
Oh.
Because the first one was also kind of like a game of the year
contender,
but no one really paid attention. No one really knew about what the fuck Psychonauts was. And now with the second one, there's a lot more eyes on it. And hopefully, once the Game Awards start to come out and everything, hopefully Psychonauts 2 wins. Because it deserves it.
Well, hopefully it does, because, yeah, there's no games that came out that were...
Game of the Year worthy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's like what would you consider Resident Evil Village? One of them?
Yeah, but what besides that, what else?
I guess nothing.
Yes.
Except for Psychonauts 2. And if I'm being honest, I feel people should have given it fucking higher scores, but that's just me. But I'm going to give it a 10. The first 10 out of 10.
In this podcast.
For a video game.
Yeah.
Did we give Suicide Squad a 10? The Suicide Squad?
I don't know. I don't remember.
We don't listen to our podcast. I'm just
Put it out there.
We're just gonna admit it, okay?
You fucking.
I don't like the sound of my voice. You think I'm gonna hear this episode back when I'm like, fucking running? I'm not gonna listen to that.
Yeah.
But I put it out there so people can fucking know that I love Psychonauts too.
So 10 out of... Well, let's say the first for our video game section.
Yeah.
A 10 out of 10.
Right, because we have talked about 10 out of 10 games like Resident Evil 4 and, you know, Bloodborne and shit. But in terms of games that we reviewed, this is definitely the first 10 out of 10. What games have we reviewed? It was like Biomutant was one of them. Resident Evil Village was one of them. Mario Golf for some reason.
What the fuck you mean for some reason?
Well, it's because that was a very dry month. Nothing fucking came out.
And that's Two Brothers.
It's like a hair in my mouth.
And that's Two Brothers.
No, it's. We'll be back with another episode of Two Brothers. I'm sorry if I sounded like I was
calm down.
Sweaty.
This is basically your fucking episode.
Yeah, it is. Just put one brother. One brother and Ed. Or something. We'll be back with another episode of Two Brothers. Hopefully that gives some people motivation to go pick up Psychonauts 2. If you haven't played the first one,
you can pick it up right now, like on PS4 and Xbox One, right?
Yeah, and if you have Game Pass, you can play it for free. Both of them. So that's like a fucking win-win. So there's no fucking excuse. It's free. If you have Game Pass, go fucking play it. Mm-hmm. And
give love to Double Fine, dude.
No, the Double Fine, they're so underrated as a fucking developer, man. Even Brutal Legend, I was about to fucking free. It's gonna have a seizure there.
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend was also one game that was like a cult classic too.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people gave that game attention.
I think that's one of my favorite Double Fines is Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend.
So I'm waiting for my sequel, which is Brutal Legend 2.
Well, there's also Costume Quest. That's also really good.
Yeah, but compared to Psychonauts and Brutal Legend,
that's like top tier.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I would say Grim Fandango, but that's not really Double Fine.
It's not?
Because I think that was LucasArts games and shit. Or was it Tall Tales? Whatever. Anyways, point is, give love to Double Fine and pick up Psychonauts 2 or even Brutal Legend. Because that game is really good, especially if you're a huge metal fan. And if you guys enjoy the podcast, please like it, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the notification bell. And big things are going to come soon. We're going to have better audio equipment.
Yes.
We hear you. I know a lot of the complaints have been how they can't hear us, or at least me. They're probably going to fucking say, I can hear.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear fucking Albert panting a lot in this episode. They're probably going to say that. But we have heard you. We will be making some changes to the podcast, and also including Maurice. We're gonna have a good time. We're here to have a good time. All right, this has been Two Brothers. We'll be back with another episode.
All right, Two Brothers.